My upcoming boxing opponent has been murdered by their own family for being gay, and I feel responsible. I have been preparing to defend my cruiserweight belt against a young man from Pakistan. I found him to be a very likable individual and struck up a friendship with him. He revealed to me that he was a closeted gay, which there are still some taboos about in boxing given the fact it is a blood sport and AIDS. Although I have little knowledge of the LGBT community, I felt honored that he trusted me enough to share this. I then did something rather foolish. I sent him an arrogant text telling him that if you can take my crown, you would make a great ambassador for our sport. A couple of days later he came out openly as gay to his family and community on Facebook. A short while after this, I have heard that he has been found dead, and it is looking like one of his uncles has murdered him. I feel sick at this, and responsible for having possibly encouraged him to come out as gay. Breathe. It's terrible that happened, and I'm very sorry, but you had nothing to do with it. First of all, your text didn't even reference his sexuality in any way. It was just a nice, friendly text in a competitive spirit. So I seriously doubt that text had anything to do with his decision, nor that he really thought about that one single text all that much. Second of all, it was his choice to come out as gay, and there's nothing wrong with that choice. The fault lies with the people who hurt him, not with him, and not with you. Even if you had somehow inspired him to come out openly, that only means that he felt safe, comfortable talking with you about it, which is a good thing. It was not wrong of you to make him feel that way. Third of all, you can't be responsible for a murderer. Whoever did this horrific act is insane. That's not within your control, nor could you have ever possibly foreseen something like this happening. So don't blame yourself. I'm a Pakistani and am aware of what happens here. I'm sorry for what happened. I wouldn't blame you. It's the conservative and narrow-minded people that should be blamed. Here in Pakistan, being gay is strongly disapproved of. You cannot have a girlfriend-boyfriend openly, but have to keep it secret. Most people have been killed in my area at least for having a relationship with someone they are not married to. I'm so sorry, man. That must be a heavy loss on you. You doing okay? Everyone has already said it, but you didn't do anything wrong. And I think in some ways, you wholeheartedly enriched his life quite a bit. It's still an absolute shame, and I hope he gets justice. You didn't doubt him. In a way, you could have gave him the bravery and strength he needed in the end. It was his choice, and no one expected this repercussion. No one is wrong. Edit: no one is in the victim or the one who feels guilty. Uncle is an asshole. I had to clarify that. This isn't your fault, but you can take this experience and use it to help the LGBTQ community. This isn't an uncommon story. We need help all around the world. The more people out there spreading awareness, the better. I wonder if stuff like this being spread through places like Pakistan actually makes them more accepting, or if they hear about it and cheer and high-five about one of the homos being killed. Serious thought. I can imagine this might not have the intended effect depending on location. Obviously, there will be people who feel disturbed about it, and those people have a heart. I'm just suggesting it might have the opposite effect on those who hate gays more than they have a moral code. Yes, I'm suggesting that there are people who have strong moral codes, who hate gays, but would also be horrified if some gay person they knew was murdered for it. That's exactly how it works. Some people cheer, yeah, but every story makes them seem more and more like the bad guys to everyone else. Yeah, fair enough. Then when the social stigma becomes such that cheering is no longer accepted enough for it to be the path of least resistance for those people, and it actually becomes easier to join those against honor killings, many will swap sides. We just need to work to change the culture around the world to shame honor killings. Right now, among certain subsets of people, killing a person committing a perceived social transgression is seen as cleansing the family shame. If we can flip is so that it is shameful to kill the person committing the perceived social transgression, and eventually even make it shameful to not be accepting of these people, then these honor killings will stop. In my opinion, this is a much more important thing to work on culturally than half the shit Americans on Twitter are bitching about. I also think Hollywood could make a big impact on this if they would focus on dark stories that take place in the Middle East, but they won't. for fear of being called racists. Edit like I would totally watch a movie about this type of thing. I don't mean a documentary either. Fiction does a better job of spreading emotional stories that make a real impact on cultural expectation, etc. It's very, very, very unlikely that these two events are related at all. Your textant is coming out. Like basically 0% chance. This is a classic example of availability bias. You don't know anything about what goes on in his life other than what he shares with you when you interact. So when you try to find an explanation for his actions, you attribute greater importance to that stuff than you should, since that's the only information that is available. It's the same kind of thinking that people with social anxiety often have. Say you are wearing a shirt that you are self-conscious about because it doesn't fit right, and as soon as you walk into a room, a group of girls starts laughing hysterically, you might be inclined to think that they are laughing at your shirt, because that is the only information available to you. You don't know what they've been talking about for the last 20 minutes, or that one of the girls told a hilarious joke right before you walked in. Coming out is a huge decision that your friend had probably been contemplating for years. There is absolutely no way that a single sentence text from a guy he just met would have any impact on his choice. It's the only thing that occurs to you as an influence, but that's because it's the only thing you know about. Once again, there is no way that your text is the reason he came out. The idea is frankly laughable. I just want to emphasize this point, because a lot of these comments are explaining that even if your text did have a small influence, that doesn't mean it is your fault, and they're absolutely right. But that doesn't even matter. Your text definitely had zero influence. But I mean this in the nicest way, people don't care about the things you say. It's not your fault. Life is just cruel like that. The best thing you can do is to continue to fight, rack up wins, get better, enjoy life, cause nothing is guaranteed, as you just experienced. Maybe one day, if you get big enough, you'll have the part of saying this story and bringing attention to just how shitty the LGBTQ community is still being treated. May his soul rest. As a lesbian from the queer community, I can fully say it's not your fault. In fact, it's awesome how much of an ally you are. Aka the bare minimum. That is barely met. It breaks my heart to hear that one of us has died, especially to his own family. It's disgusting. How can monsters like that roam in this earth? Why must they be so full of hate for something that doesn't even concern them? You mustn't feel guilty for what his awful uncle has done. Mate, what you did wasn't arrogance. It was support and helping him feel like he belonged as a friend and a boxer in the community. You did way more good here than harm. Please don't torture yourself. It sucks, and it's unbelievably tragic that culturally things still exist where the value of someone's heteronormativity is priced above their life and being able to live it to their truth. The uncle, however he wishes to argue it to himself, might still be a murderer, I say. Might, because these things should be convicted properly in a court of law. That's a personal belief though. Feel the guilty feelings in order to deal with them and get past them. For sure. But you must not take responsibility for his murder on yourself. Never. Biggest of big hugs and remote support from far off in another country. I understand how you are feeling, bro, but it isn't your fault. You were being a friend. He came out on his own terms, and it isn't his fault either. It's the ignorance of his family uncle that have led to this tragedy. It's okay to feel sad or bad, but do not put this on yourself. It isn't your fault. Sometimes the world isn't ready for the change of one person. Bad things happen to people in the LGBT community a lot. It's not okay, but it's just the cruelty of people who don't understand. I've had friends who have been hurt in awful ways after coming out, and it's horrible. I don't have much advice to give you other than kind words, but if you do truly feel like it's your fault, maybe see a counselor or someone you can talk to about it in person, like a family member or good friend. Talking about it will help a lot and will help you move forward and understand that it's not you, and you don't deserve to have that kind of weight on your shoulders. The person responsible for his death, the only person, is the person who killed him and anyone who encouraged this. You supported him. He likely knew the risks of coming out. It is highly likely your support was a rare and awesome feeling for him. What a fantastic thing you did. Be proud you made him happy and helped him feel strong. This is not on you, this is a problem Pakistan needs to sort out. You contributed nothing to their homophobia. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing for more videos.